Let us the class be started. Yesterday we have studied few of the exercise questions. Uh, the last question we have seen was about the using the periodic table to answer the various questions. So by using those questions, by using the knowledge about the periodic table, we have answered few questions. These questions were to identify the element with 5 electron in the outer subshell, or element that would tend to lose 2 electrons, or element that would tend to gain 2 electron, or we need to identify the group which contain the metal, non-metal, liquid as well as gas at room temperature. So we have answered those questions. Today we shall start with a new question. Here on your screen, my dear students, you have the new question to study about. Let us look at the question and move forward. The question for you today is this, that the increasing order of reactivity among the group 1 element is lithium is less than, sodium is less than, potassium is less than, rubidium is less than cesium, whereas that among group 17 is fluorine is greater than, chlorine is greater than, bromine is greater than iodine. So here you can see that the order what we observe here is exactly reverse. Going down the group, the reactivity of group 1 element increases, whereas going down the group, the reactivity of group 17 element decreases. What is the reason that we need to understand here? For group 1 element, if we think they are metals, they are electropositive, so they have tendency to lose electron, and their reactivity is based on the decreasing ionization enthalpy. Metals are more reactive if metals have a lower ionization enthalpy. You know, metals are more reactive because when their ionization enthalpy is low, because they are electropositive and they have a tendency to lose electrons. So the less is the energy required to remove an electron, more reactive would that metal be. So going down the group 1, value of ionization enthalpy decreases, thus the reactivity increases, and that is why going down the group, the reactivity order we can write that lithium is less than, sodium is more reactive than lithium, potassium is more reactive than sodium, rubidium is more reactive than potassium, cesium is more reactive than rubidium, francium is more reactive than cesium. But we should not consider francium here in this order because francium is radioactive. But when we think about group 17, halogens are non-metals. So non-metals have a electronegative nature. That means they have tendency to gain electron. Now non-metals are more reactive if they have the high electronegativity. Going down the group, the value of electronegativity decreases, and that is why going down the group, reactivity even decreases. So the reactivity order for group 17 element, we can write fluorine is greater than, chlorine is greater than, bromine is greater than iodine. So this is the reason why there is an inverted order of reactivity, because of their reactivity depends upon the various factors. The reactivity of metal depends upon ability to lose electron, whereas the reactivity of a non-metal depends upon ability to gain electron, and that is why they have exactly opposite order. Next question, my dear students, we have that write the general outer electronic configuration of S, P, D and F block elements. This is very important question, my dear students, that we have written block and the outer electronic configuration. It's better if you learn this general electronic configuration, my dear students, that if we have S block, then the general electronic configuration is NS1 to 2, where N is equal to 2 to 7. If you have P block, then the general electronic configuration is NS2 NP1 to 6, where you have N is equal to 2 to 6. Now this is what it is. There is an exception in case of the P block, and this exception is going to be your helium, my dear students. Your helium will always have an exception here. This helium, which is an exception here, because helium has a 1s2 electronic configuration which does not fix into this. So here N is equal to 2 to 6. we could even have written 1 to 6 here, but generally with considering helium as an exception, we simply write it as a as a 1 to 6, or simply we write it as a, the exception here is helium. My dear students, helium is an exception here. So please remember it well. Then when we move to the d block elements, the electronic configuration should be n minus 1d 1 to 10, n is 0 to 2, where n is equal to 4 to 7. So you can have 3d, 4d, 5d and 6d in the d block elements, and if you have the f block elements, then the general electronic configuration is going to be n minus 2, f1 to 14, n minus 1d 0 to 2 and ns2, where n is equal to 6 to 7. That means you have 4f and 5f, n minus 2 4, n minus 2 5, and this is how, my dear students, we can write the general electronic configuration. Quite a few times this question have been asked into the various exam about the general electronic configuration of the various blocks, and it is important to learn the general electronic configuration. So please learn it. Then we have the next question. Assign the position of the element having outer electronic configuration given. So here I have tried to write the outer electronic configuration as well as the position regarding a particular electronic configuration. Let us look it one by one so that we can understand it well. Now look at the first case. You have ns2 and p4 and n is equal to 3. When you have n is equal to 3, we can consider it as a third period. So we can have this electronic configuration written as neon 3s2 3p4. See, neon having atomic number 10, 3s2 2 and p4. So total it is going to be 16. So your element is sulfur. Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, sodium, magnesium, aluminum, silicon, phosphorus and sulfur. So you can say it is a sulfur. Now you can see that here n is equal to 3 and the outermost s orbital which is filled is 3s. So we can say that the period is 3, and you have the last filled electron goes to the p orbital, and that is why the block is p. We know that if the element belongs to the p block, then its group number would be 12 plus number of valence or number of electron in p. So here the group number is going to be 4 plus 12, that is 16. This is how, my dear students, we understand easily about the electronic, from the electronic configuration we can determine the position very easily, very comfortably. Now we'll look into the next one to understand it. Let us look at this. We have a next one that is called n minus 1 d2 ns2, where n is equal to 4. So the electronic configuration would be argon 3d2 4s2. Argon is 18, 3d is 2 and 4s is 2, total 22. So the element is titanium. Now when we have the element titanium, we can see into the electronic configuration that the last field s subshell is 4s, and that is why the period number is going to be 4. The last electron goes into the d orbital. So the block is going to be D, and being D block element, the group number would be 2 plus the number of electron in D, that is 2 plus 2, that is 4. So we can easily identify the group number 4. Then we have the next question. The next question is n minus 2 F7, n minus 1 D1, NS2, n is equal to 6. So we can write this electronic configuration as xenon 4F7, 5D1, 6S2. The last, so xenon is 54, in F we have 7, in D we have 1, and in 6S, in S we have 2, here it should be 2. So here actually it is 2, and if it is 2 here, then the total is going to be 64, and if it is 64, then see, 7 plus 8 plus 2, 10 plus 54, that is going to be 64, and if it is 64, then it is a gadolinium. Last field S was 6s. So last fill s is 6. So the period number is 6, whereas the last filled electron goes into the f orbital. That is why it is, and it is for f orbital, and that is why it is lanthanoid. The group number for all the lanthanoid is given as a group number 3, and this is how we can understand the position of an element into the periodic table. We'll look at the last one. Now we have the next question to understand. Let us look at the next question. The first ionization enthalpy and the second ionization enthalpy in kilojoule per mole, as well as the electron gain enthalpy in kilojoule per mole of a few elements are given below. You can see here there are few elements given. So we are given the various elements and their values of ionization enthalpy as well as the other values are given. Let's look at this once again. We have element number 1, which has the first ionization enthalpy 520, whereas the second ionization enthalpy is 7300. The electron gain enthalpy is minus 60. Second element, first ionization enthalpy is 419. Second ionization enthalpy is 3051, whereas the electron gain enthalpy is minus 48. Third element, the first ionization enthalpy is 1681. Second ionization enthalpy is 3374. The electron gain enthalpy is minus 328. Fourth element, the first ionization enthalpy is 1008. Second ionization enthalpy is 1846. Third ionization enthalpy is minus 295. Fifth element is 2300. First ionization enthalpy is 2372. Second ionization enthalpy is 5251, and the electron gain enthalpy is plus 48. Sixth element, first ionization enthalpy is 738. Second ionization enthalpy is 1451, and the electron gain enthalpy is minus 40. Now, my dear students, I want to bring something to your notice, that if you look at the element number 3, you can find that the highest electron gain enthalpy is there with the element number 3. The lowest first ionization enthalpy, is with the element number 2. So we can expect this element number 2 to be the alkali metal of group number 1. We can expect this element to be halogen, and you can see here that in element number 5 you have positive electron gain enthalpy. Positive electron gain enthalpy is the symbol or is the representation of the inert gases. So we can understand that the element number 5 is definitely going to be the inert gas. Now we'll think upon the various questions and we'll try to answer them. But remember that which of the above element is likely to be. So we need not to be very sure. We can guess it and we can answer this question. Now let's look at the first question. The least reactive element. You know, the least reactive elements are the inert gases, and we have seen that the group number element number 5 has positive electron gain enthalpy, which itself shows that it is a inert gas, and we can say that the least reactive element is the element number 5. Now we can move and see the other questions and should answer them accordingly. So let's look at the next question, my dear students. The most reactive metal. So the most reactive metal are generally the alkali metals. So alkali metals are the most reactive metal. They have low first ionization enthalpy, high second ionization enthalpy, and small negative electron gain enthalpy. Element number 2, you can see, my dear students, that element number 2, I have already mentioned that it belongs to the group alkali metal. They have very low first ionization enthalpy and a very small electron gain enthalpy, and that is why we can say that it is the alkali metal. So the most reactive metal would be the element number 2, as is the most reactive element. Then we'll move to the most reactive metal. The next question is the most reactive non-metal. The most reactive non-metal should be halogen with the very high electron gain enthalpy. The most reactive non-metal is halogen, especially the fluorine, which has very high delta IH1, delta IH2, and very much negative electron gain enthalpy. We can expect the same from the element number 3. You can see here, my dear students, that in element number 3, the value of the first and the second electron gain enthalpies are considered to be very high. So these values are not so high as inert gas, but they are quite high. So if you look into the inert gas, these values are very high. But here, if you look into this element, then the values are quite high, like 1681 and 3374. It's a second most high, you can say. They are quite higher, even lower than the fifth element, but still they are higher, and that is why they are considered to be but their electron gain enthalpy is very much negative, and that is why it is the most reactive non-metal. Then we can look and then we can go to the question number D, the least reactive non-metal that we need to understand. Now the least reactive and non-metal, you know, the helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon, they are inert gases and they are considered to be the non-metal, and that is why without any doubt we can say that inert gases are non-metals and they are least reactive too, and that is why element 5 is the least reactive non-metal. We would have included element 4 here. Look at this. We could have included element 4 here because it has got very high electron gain enthalpy, and the first and second ionization enthalpy are even quite good. But as they have not mentioned here that they want the answer apart from the um, uh, inert gases, and that is why we were forced to, or we should write the answer as element number 5. So for once again, the least reactive non-metal, inert gases are non-metals and they are least reactive too. So element 5 is the least reactive non-metal. We would have included element 4 if question would have asked that non-metal other than group 18. So if they have mentioned this into the question, then we would have taken the element 4. Actually, high electron gain enthalpy is the characteristics of non-metallic character, but inert gases are also considered as a non-metal, and that is why we have answered this question in the form of non-metal, that is element number 5. And then we have the next question. The next question is the metal which can form a stable binary halide of the formula MX2. Now binary halides MX2 like CaCl2, MgCl2, BaCl2 are formed by the group 2 elements. So metal from group 2 element, which are known as the alkaline earth metal, which have high high ionization enthalpy, but comparatively small second ionization enthalpy. So first ionization enthalpy are comparatively high than or higher than the alkali metals, but second ionization enthalpy is comparatively smaller than the alkali metals, and they have small negative electron gain enthalpy. These characteristics you can find from the from the question, my dear students. So if you look into the questions, you will realize that the difference between, see, when we look at the element number 2, the first ionization enthalpy is very low, but the second ionization enthalpy is very high, 3051. Now, when you look at the other options, you can see that this element number 6 has a 738 and 1450. If you look at the element number 1, you come to know that the second ionization enthalpy is very, very, very high. So it cannot be a group 2 element, because if group 2 element cannot have such a high or such a huge second ionization enthalpy, they easily form the +2 ion, and that is why we would consider. So we should consider this element number 6 as the answer. It has also got the small negative electron gain enthalpy, and then for answering this question, for the group number 2, we would look into the element number 6, and that is how we can answer this question, my dear students, that metal from group number 2, alkaline earth metals, which have high first ionization enthalpy but comparatively small second ionization enthalpy, and very small or small negative electron gain enthalpy. So element 6 is having lowest second ionization enthalpy and small negative electron gain enthalpy, and that is why we can say that element number 6 is the answer. Element 6 is likely to be the alkaline earth metal, and they make MX2 kind of binary halide. where X is equal to halogen. And then we have the next question, metal which can form a predominantly stable covalent halide of the formula Mx. Now, you remember that HCl, NaCl, KCl, CSCl, CgMCl, CSCl. So the metal which are alkali metals, they generally make the MX kind of halides. Now alkali metals have a specialty that they have low first ionization enthalpy. So if you look into the low first ionization enthalpy, my dear students, you can come to know that the lowest is there with 419 and then it comes to 520. So this is what it simply shows that the the element 1 is also an alkali metal, but its first ionization enthalpy is lower than the second element. That means going down the group, the value of ionization enthalpy decreases. That is what it shows. So this is what 55, but you can look into the second ionization enthalpy, it is very high. It again confirms. It has also get negative electron gain enthalpy, and if you look into this, you will find that the electron gain enthalpy of this is quite high as compared to this 40 and 48. That means this is the second period element, especially the lithium type of element, which has a lower first ionization enthalpy but a very high second ionization enthalpy. Now we know, we have studied about the second period anomaly, and we know that second period element like lithium and beryllium, they have a tendency to make the covalent compound. So here in the question they have clearly asked, alkali metals are the most reactive metals. They have low, uh, sorry, we need to move to the next page. The metal which can form a predominantly stable covalent halide. Please remember, my dear students, that group 1 metals generally make the ionic halides, but it is the lithium only which makes the covalent halide. So here we need to find out about the lithium. We have seen that the first ionization enthalpy is comparatively low, but second ionization enthalpy of element 1 is quite high or very high, and that is why we can say that element number 1 is lithium. Alkali metal is generally Mx kind of halide, but here it is mentioned that predominantly stable covalent halide. It means that it must be lithium with comparatively high first ionization enthalpy and comparatively more electron gain enthalpy. So from this we can say that element 1 is likely to be lithium, and that is why element 1 can form the predominantly stable covalent halides of MX type. So this is how, my dear students, we can understand about the various kind of um, element from their value of electron gain enthalpy, first ionization enthalpy and second ionization enthalpy. Now we have a next question to study. If you have anything to ask, my dear students, regarding whatever we have discussed, you can raise your hand and answer, or you can immediately answer me, ask me the question. Is there anything you would like to ask? Please ask. Don't have any fear, or don't feel any hesitation to ask questions in between if you are not able to understand. Let's move to the next question. Predict the formula of the stable binary compound. We need to find out the formula of the stable binary compound that would be formed by the combination of the following pairs of elements. So we need to find out the formula. Let us look at the question. Lithium and oxygen. We know lithium belongs to group number 1. It is a metal, so it forms the positive ion, lithium plus 1. Oxygen, group number 16, which is a non-metal, so it makes negative ion, O minus 2. You know, lithium and oxygen, Li plus 1, O minus 2. The charge is 1 and 2, LCM is 2. To get the LCM number, lithium needs to multiply with 2, whereas oxygen needs to multiply with 1. So we need 2 lithium and 1 oxygen to make the compound, that is Li2O. Then we have the magnesium and nitrogen. Magnesium is a metal. It is electropositive. It belongs to group number 2, so it makes Mg plus 2 ion, whereas nitrogen belongs to group number 15. It is non-metal, so make negative ion with N minus 3. So you can write Mg plus 2 and N minus 3. The charge is plus 2, the charge is minus 3. The LCM of 2 and 3 is 6. So to get the number of LCM, we need to multiply +2 with 3, so magnesium we need 3, and we need to multiply -3 with 2, so nitride we need 2, and thus the expected formula would be Mg3N2. Same way, when we look at the next question, we are given aluminium and iodine. Aluminium always makes Al+3 ions, and iodine makes I-1. Now you may think that why iodine don't make the positive ion. That aluminium is less electronegative actually. Aluminium is less electronegative here in this case, less electronegative. So aluminum is less electronegative as compared to the less electronegative than iodine, and that is why iodine make negative ion. So we can say that aluminum +3 and I-1. Aluminum +3, the LCM is 3, so aluminum 3 need to multiply with 2 and -1 need to multiply with 3. So we need one aluminum whereas 3 iodine, and ultimately the formula is going to be Ali3. Then we have silicon and oxygen. Oxygen is more electronegative than oxygen is more electronegative than silicon, my dear students. So oxygen make the negative ion O-2, silicon make positive ion Si+4. So the charge on silicon is 4, the charge on oxygen is 2. LCM is 4. To get 4 needs to multiply with 1, and 2 need to multiply with 2. So we need 1 silicon and 2 oxygen, and the formula is going to be SiO2, my dear students. Then we have the next question, phosphorus and fluorine. Fluorine is more electronegative than phosphorus, so positive ion is made by phosphorus. Phosphorus can make P+3 and P+5. So we will have to calculate for both, whereas fluorine makes F-1 ion. So when phosphorus is P+3, F is -1, charge is 3, and 1 LCM is 3. So 3 1s are 3 and 1 3s are 3. So we need 3 phosphorus, we need 1 phosphorus and 3 fluorine, that gives us PF3. But in case of P+5, in case of P+5, we can easily understand, my dear students, that the charge on phosphorus is 5, whereas the charge on fluorine is 1. So we generally take the charges 5 and 1. The LCM is going to be 5. Ultimately, what happens? To get the number, we need we need to multiply 5 with 1 so that we can 5, and we need to multiply 1 with 5 so that we can 5. So ultimately we need 1 phosphorus and 5 fluorine, and the expected formula should be PF5. Looking at the last question, element 71 and fluorine. If you look at the electronic configuration for 71, for xenon we put 54. So 71 minus 54 is 17. Then we still have the 17 electron. So the next 2 electron goes to the 6s2. Therefore 17 minus 2 is 15. We still have 15 electrons. So in D we put 1 electron. Now we have 14 electron, and all this 14 electron goes to the 4s orbital, and ultimately we can write the electronic configuration as xenon 6s2 5d1 4f14. The given element is lutetium, which is a lanthanoid. Please remember, my dear students, this is what it is going to be very helpful to you in future, that lanthanoids show +3 common oxidation state. This is an extra information that will be useful in 10th standard. But all the lanthanoids, they generally show +3 oxidation state. So lutetium is also going to show you the +3 oxidation state. This +3 oxidation state will make lutetium +3, and fluorine, we know that the most electronegative element makes -1 ion. So lutetium we have, that is a 3, fluorine is 1, LCM is 3. To get the LCM number, 3 need to multiply with 1, 3 1s are 3, 1 need to multiply with 3, so 1 3s are 3. Ultimately, with arrow I have shown that lutetium are needed 1, whereas fluorine is needed 3, and the expected formula should be LuF3, my dear students. So this is how we truly understand about the various exercise questions that we have been dealing with. We have completed almost all the exercise question discussion, my dear students. So now if you have anything to ask, you can ask me, or we can move to the next in-text question. It was actually the revision of the theory itself. So I hope you are very clear about your concept. But still, if you want to ask me something, you got to ask me. Do you have any question to ask, my dear students? Please do not delay.
Mukund Soni, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Mukund, good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to know revision of which topic, Mukund?
Chapter
Revision
3,
of which topic is going on?
Chapter 3, periodicity
Okay.
in property.
Okay, periodicity in properties. Fine.
Yes. So, students, would you like to ask me the questions? Do you have any doubts? Please. At least if you do not have, let me know that you do not have, so that we can move forward. बच्चों आपको कुछ पूछना है?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
No,
No,
sir.
Thank you for reverting.
No,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you. Thank you. So let's solve the next question. Look at the shared screen, please. Which of the following species will have the largest and the smallest size? Magnesium, magnesium plus 2, aluminum, aluminum plus 2. My dear students, if you move from left side to the right side into the periodic table, we know that the size decreases. You know, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, neon, sodium, magnesium and aluminum. So aluminum is on the right side of magnesium. That means magnesium will have the larger radius, larger size than aluminum. So for magnesium and aluminum we are clear. Now we know the more is the charge, the smaller would be the size. That means magnesium plus 2 would be even smaller than aluminum plus 3. Well, the atom aluminum itself is smaller than magnesium and it has got plus 3 charge. So aluminum plus 3 is definitely going to be the smallest one, and that is why we can arrange this element as, we can simply arrange this element as the in the order of, you know, first we will have the smallest one would be Al plus 3, then we would have Mg plus 2, then we would have Mg plus 2, then we would have Mg, and then we would have then we would have aluminum with the smaller size, and then we would have Mg. So this is the order that we can understand for this question. The same is written here in the answer also. Atomic radii decreases axonal period. Cation are smaller than their parent atoms. So among isoelectronic species, the one with the larger positive nuclear charge will have the smaller radius. Hence, the largest species is Mg and the smallest species is going to be Al plus 3. Now let's look at the next question. The first ionization enthalpy value of the third period element, sodium, magnesium and silicon, are respectively 497, 737 and 786. Let me repeat. The first ionization enthalpy, that is delta I H1, value of the third period element, sodium, magnesium and silicon,